Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Tim, you're watching Doc's Autos, and I got a new hat, which means we got some new parts. So what do we got? We got some parts for the 72 Challenger. We have a air cleaner. Yay. Will it fit under the hood? Who knows? If not, we'll just cut a hole in the hood. But really, we're working on the Challenger again here today. I've got about 2 to 3 weeks before the parts for the fuel system shows up, ordered from Year One and Classic Industries. Everything is just back ordered because you know why. So in the meantime, we're gonna work on getting the front fenders fit back up to the car. Take off the front here and see what we've got here to work with, and then get the fenders put on, aligned, and see what we have for damage to correct or alignment issues to fix. I know the one main issue up in this front corner, I pointed out before, is this is crumpled from somebody's previous fun, and I don't have a frame rack. It's not going to pull out terribly easily, so either going to just try and beat it out, or find a donor section, or just cut this here, push the frame support out or the core support out, and re-weld it. Check with Darren, see what he wants to do. I know it's not worth to rip everything out or go buy a frame rack, but I'd like a frame rack. So in the meantime, we're gonna look at getting stuff under the fenders cleaned up. We're not doing anything with the suspension yet, but things like these patches here, we're gonna get cleaned up. This was welded or cut and welded back together, so we're gonna get this weld cleaned up. Everything nice and primed and painted. If you look over here, we've got a similar patch, so we'll go ahead and either remove and replace or trim or clean this up. We'll see. You can see this support was just cut, so we'll go ahead and locate or fabricate a replacement for that. And with the two fenders, they are back here in the dark. Sorry, we'll bring them out here in just a minute. But this one here has a patch down here that needs to be repaired or done better. Of course, everything's stripped and primed, all the dents and stuff taken out. There's quite a few here you can see. So that'll be a project. There are a couple of holes for trim pieces that Darren's not sure if he's gonna put back on. And then if you look over here on the passenger side, there's actually a indicator for what looks like would have been a turn signal indicator, because there's only one little bare wire sticking in here that goes up there. So we're not going to be going forward with that. So right off the bat, you can tell these fenders are from two different vehicles. So I'm going to delete that and go ahead and just get everything else inside cleaned up. You can see on this side, look, there's a ton of holes for trim or emblems, whatever, that we're not going to be putting back on. So you can see these do need quite a bit of work. So kind of the front end, getting that lined up and prepped is going to be our focus here, at least to start with. There's a bunch of other stuff. The front end itself isn't in terrible shape, but you can see that the grill here is a little cracked. This front piece is damaged to some degree. The turn signals are broken, so those need to be replaced. Headlights, actually, 3 of them work, so we're gonna leave those alone. But otherwise, just kind of work on this whole front area here and do a little snap magic and clean it up. Unfortunately, it's not going to be quite that fast or easy. The hood itself is in pretty decent shape. There's not a lot of major blemishes in it. I'll bring this out in better light here in a minute, but down the sides, just a few little areas where it is damaged. Clean that up. The adhesive here has given way, so we'll go ahead and get that gooped back together. But overall, just kind of a prep and paint in here. And just kind of work on getting things under here cleaned up, kind of re-undercoated and protected, and ready to move forward once we get the fuel system back and can actually move this thing around a little more. So I'll go ahead and take off this whole front, a couple of bolts here, and that's going to kind of limit me from pushing it around very much, which is okay because, again, hopefully we'll have the engine going here in pretty short order and be able to, move freely about the shop. Looking back, or looking ahead to more things, if we're still waiting on parts, we'll just start cranking away on the body because there is plenty of work to do, even without patch panels. I did actually order some patch panels for the rear here. You can see, up here we go. This side is not actually that bad. The other side actually is, and back here is. So we're gonna go ahead and get those cleaned up. The roof, of course, we know that is a large area of concern. Look at that spot over there. There we go. Here's a great shot of where that patch panel is going to be going in. They're about yay high and go out about yay far. So we're going to go down as far as we can and get that patched in because it is a little on the rough side. The rest of the panel isn't too bad. This was actually replaced by one of Darren's buddies quite some time ago. So this side of the car was painted, primed at least, to help get that protected. So that was, I think, a great help compared to the other side of the car. Gas cap, perfect, right? One of the other things we'll be replacing is this back piece here between the trunk and the rear glass. It is rusted through in some spots you can see. So we'll also be getting all the glass out of the car. And new vinyl roof, new top. Hey, here's fine. Perfect. Back here, well, maybe I can talk Darren into a partial moonroof, right? So that's where we're sitting for now. We're gonna go ahead and just start taking off this front end here and try and get those front fenders set back in place just to get everything lined up and see, especially up in this front corner, what we're looking at for repairing up here. If you can see, a lot of these holes where our bolts are gonna go through are broken. So we're gonna go ahead and weld these back together or patch in, like here, for example, so we've got a actual hole versus just an opening. This side here is pretty good, so you can see what it should look like. And we'll get these clips ordered and showing up. And again, look at these nice plug wires. Great, right? Nice shiny carburetor under there. Just got to work with this guy over here as being a little stinky pest. But anyways, you've seen me dig around the engine far too long, so let's start taking this thing apart. Alrighty, so we are going to go ahead and get this front end taken off. I'm going to go ahead and label all my electrical connections and got a few baggies for nuts and bolts because we know you're never going to remember where they all go back together. So let's go ahead and get started. We're already missing some bolts. And I haven't even gotten to those yet. Alrighty, we've got our wiring marked, so we've got a couple bolts to take off. There's one up here on top, because the other one's missing. And then on the side of the frame rails here, we've got a pair of probably 3/4 inch or 5/8, probably 3/4 inch bolts to come out. And this whole front end should come off. There's one more, probably 1/2 inch down there, 7/16 I think is still connected. And then our horn wire. So we'll go ahead and get those couple of things off. And hopefully it'll come off without a whole lot of fuss. Alrighty. All right, we've got a 3/4 inch bolt here. See if I can lose a knuckle. Oh man, I already got my new hat dirty. That was gonna be my good going out to the bar hat. But I don't go out to the bar, so I guess we're safe. Hey, look, a knuckle. Hey, I got you. Well, I can take this thing off as long as I'm at it. What's holding me up? There we go. All right, here we go. Look at that. One piece off. All right, well, now I've got a little more insight to what else is hiding down here. And I don't think a whole lot. Nope, that's disconnected. Broken piece. It's just a matter of pulling it off of here. There we go. Look at that. More parts to catalog over here in the corner. All right, we got those parts off. We've got this little valance to cake off, and then our front end's gonna be pretty much exposed here. And get our hood latch assembly off, and then we can really start tearing into the front here and see where everything's at. Alrighty folks, we're back. We got the front grille, the rest of that assembly off, and you can see that. That's off. We got our two fenders mounted, and bring some light over here. The passenger side definitely has some fitment issues if you look down the front. There's a big bow right back in here. And there's actually one over here on the driver's side I'll show you in just one second. But I mean, it fits up, but not well. If you remember these mounting points under here were all broken out and there's no clips in there, just one here. So we really can't get this fit up well. And the bigger problem here is going to be this front radiator support is pushed back with this. All right, so as I was saying before the GoPro battery died, I've got the fender on the passenger side. And because we have this crinkle here in the inner fender and the core support being pushed back, we're not able to mount this here. And all of our other mounting points on this fender, except for this one here, the mounting tabs or the mounting holes are actually broken out. So we don't really have any way to fit any of these in. And that's going to pose a problem for us. So we may end up simply just replacing this whole inner fender well. You know, that's available on year one. I'll see if maybe Classic Industries has something. Who else we could look at. But, you know, this being crinkled up in here, we're not going to be able to get that back. Have it look pretty. I don't have a frame machine, and I know I don't have any other pulling tools to get that back in place. And I don't think it's worth all the heating and beating just to have a bunch of dents in there. So we'll probably look at replacing this. So this is our problem child here. Let's go over to the driver's side here. Carry our umbilical cord with us because apparently batteries don't last. Seriously, if I had 3 more of those bright suns in the sky up here, I'd be doing a whole lot better. The driver's side, on the other hand, actually does look a whole lot better. There is still a bow right in this area here. You can see on the body line that it is dented in right here. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to run a string between these two here and use that as a guide to kind of help me get that straightened out. On the positive note, this side does have all of our mounting points here on the inner fender. And I got a couple of nuts on, bolts in, whatever. The only big issue is down to the bottom here. I need to set in a couple of bolts. But this actually lines up, you know, pretty well. Once I get these bolts in down here, this body line will come in a lot closer. And then up here, it's a little tight. Probably have to tap this down some. But fitment is not horrible. You know, you can open the door, nothing binds. But we'll work on getting this down a little bit closer to where it should be. But otherwise, along here is pretty good. And then down here, of course, is a gap because it needs to fit in to some points down here. But once it's there, the gap seems to come together pretty well. Last thing I'd like to do, but I don't think is going to be very helpful with that passenger fender not fitting, was to put the hood back on. But I think that's going to wait for another day. And I'm going to go ahead and take the, I think I'm going to take the driver's fender off first and start doing some body work on that. I know I'm going to probably have to come in here with the stud gun to pull out some of these areas. But I'm going to try and get this with the hammer to start with, so I'm not putting studs right on here. And I think I've got filler in here anyways. So this looks like it's going to be quite the fun one to start with. So that's where we're going to be at for right now. Alrighty, folks. Well, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Before I got too far ahead of myself into the body work, I wanted to go ahead and make some shelves behind the car. So I took some of our cribbing from our building here last summer and did some makeshift shelving behind the car. So I've got some place to store parts for when they eventually do come in and for when I start taking things off the car, just so they're not sitting in giant piles and pallets on the dirt floor here, so I'm tripping over myself. So we're going to get cranking ahead in the next video here, back working on those front fenders, and hopefully the parts will start showing up with that inner fender, patch panels and whatnot, and we'll see how that goes. But for now, thanks for watching this video. I hope you look forward to the next one. Hit that subscribe button below, like I said. You'll get all those notifications when we are posting out new content. And don't forget to follow us over on Instagram. We've got new content over there before you ever see it here. And we have new shirts over on our Teespring site. We've got themed shirts for the Challenger, the 52, and the Spitfire. I haven't come up with anything yet for the Mustang. Not sure that I will. But anyways, thanks again, and we'll catch you all in the next video. Bye-bye.